Welcome back to the Cougar Cast here at the Kokomo Post Sports. I am your host, Jay Stevens, and in this weekly podcast, we get the opportunity to sit down with the Director of Athletics at IU Kokomo, as well as a coach, or maybe a coach and a player that's a part of the athletic department at IU Kokomo. And today, to open today's show, he was absent a week ago. Yeah. He is back today. It is the Director of Athletics at IU Kokomo, Mr. Tom Norris. Tom, welcome back. Little delay, busy, but I'm glad you're here again.
Good to be back. Duty called last week, was down in Cincinnati for our River States Conference Athletic Director meeting. So you guys don't need me, though. The show went on, and, we have some pretty special guests at IU Kokomo, and they were able to take the spotlight and make things happen. So, but glad to be back.
Glad you're here as well. And you're correct. That's one of the things I always highlight is that there's a lot of things going on at IU Kokomo. There's a lot of talented coaches and athletes. Got to hear from some a week ago and previously. I love hearing about all that stuff. I also love hearing about what's going on at IUK. Can you fill us in on what's going on at the university right now?
Yeah, busy time for us with everything kind of kicked off. All of our fall sports are going right in the middle of their seasons. So just busy. I mean, we have, it seems, athletic events every single day, not always at home, but it seems like there's always something going on from a competition standpoint. Again, whether it's on campus or on the road, it's nice to keep up and nice to see our student athletes and coaches back in action.
What? Esports. Before I say what, esports, let's go backtrack a little bit. We had Nick Leahy on, the esports coach at IU Kokomo, the newest sport, a part of the athletic department. They had their first, and I don't know, it's a game.
We'll just call it a competition. Yeah, we'll call it a competition.
Yep. So much better. How did that competition go?
I'm telling you, it was awesome. It was, and that was the first note I had in my phone was to talk esports and give Coach Leahy and his crew a shout out. I mean, it's our Rocket League team, which I don't know if you're familiar with Rocket League, but I think the best way to describe it for maybe some of our viewers who don't know is it's soccer with cars, I think is the best way or best explanation of that. They're off to a 3-1 start, in our program's first year. So, to see what Nick has done with that program and, the foundation that he set, and it's just awesome to see. It's really fun to see. Our student athletes are excited. Our campus is excited. And here I go using that word again. But, just really awesome stuff coming from that program. And Overwatch is our other, the other title that they're playing right now, and they're 1-on-1. So, it didn't take us long for a first year program to get a win and, in one title get 3 of them. So, proud of Nick and what he's done, and the team's been really flexible. They've been in a temporary space since we started. The esports arena that will be dedicated to the team is under construction on campus. So they've kind of been, just flexible, I think is the best way. And to do that and to compete at the level that they're competing at is awesome.
That is so much fun to hear about, and being able to actually talk to Nick Leahy here on the show and hear his passion, hear his excitement, hear the thoughts he had about what could be at the esports program at IUK. I say could be, because at the time there was not a competition yet for the team.
Right.
But hearing that their Rocket League is 3-1, he mentioned that there would be 3 different games that they would be participating in, which he understood the challenge, but also understood that the challenge was something that he could tackle with the players there. You mentioned the recruiting that goes into it, and just hiring the right person. And seems like you found a good man, a really good guy for the job.
Well, I mean, we, not really an esports reference, but we hit a home run with Nick, to be completely honest with you. I mean, he is phenomenal. He connects well with students, has done a heck of a job recruiting. And same thing as his team. He's been flexible with, hey, the space is coming, but, there's some work to be done to it. And he's just kind of taken it all in stride and has really, like I said, set a really solid foundation for this program. And, look forward to see where he takes this thing in the future, because I think the ceiling's pretty limitless for him in that program.
I keep seeing on Instagram, and I don't know if I'm diving into your notes or not, guys. I did not see this before we started.
I got a feeling you are right here, though. I got a feeling you are.
I keep seeing on Instagram, volleyball, setter of the week, conference level. Another young lady, aside from the setter of the week, won another conference level award as well at the same time this week. This wasn't the first time, Tom. I think the week we missed together, there were some other conference awards handed out to women on the volleyball team. Got to talk to Miss Heather Hayes, her passion, her expertise, maybe her longevity at IUK. all coming together once again with the volleyball team. How are they doing this year?
I'll tell you, we had a setter of the week that just came out this morning. Allison Richmond was setter of the week. But again, you guys heard it. Coach Hayes is the best in the business. I mean, she is she's a rock star, I think is the best way to describe her. And I think because I missed last week, and I was kicking myself because I thought I missed this, but I wasn't here last week. So September 9th, I think, was the date, but Coach Hayes won her 300th her 300th career win at IU Kokomo, which in 11 years averages out to about 27 wins a year, which is unheard of. I mean, it's insane. What she's done with that program is beyond impressive. And I think I talked about it in a previous show. Success is not easy, but you can get there. But sustained success is the hard part in college athletics, and she's done it and continues to do it. And just a fun thing to watch and to be a part of, and to have a back seat to see what her program does on a yearly basis.
We hit esports, we hit volleyball. Yep. Anything else that's on your list?
Yeah, so, I mean, just a quick note for volleyball. They've played tonight at home at 7 o'clock against Indiana University East, which is one of our biggest rivals within the River States Conference. Obviously, another IU program who's competitive year in and year out. So always a fun time to see when those two programs get together. So tonight will be the first of two matchups, this season, the other one being at IU East. So if anybody's listening and needs something to do tonight watching, come out. Student Activities and Event Center, 7 o'clock, going to be a really, really fun match to watch. So, but moving on, jumping back to River State's Conference Players of the Week, Keely Hoopengarner was another Player of the Week this week for us, which obviously not the first for her. We've heard that name a few times, on this show. But, soccer has had a little bit of a layoff here just in terms of how their schedule has worked out. But I believe on Thursday they go to IU East, but return back home here on Saturday at 1 o'clock to host Shawnee State, who is a new member of the River States Conference, has traditionally been a pretty successful program. So 1 o'clock, Kokomo Municipal Stadium on Saturday should be a really fun soccer match to watch as well.
Good venues, might I add, that you're able to watch the volleyball and soccer matches in the stadium, Kokomo Municipal Stadium. Got to slow down a little bit. That's a beautiful stadium to watch anything in. Baseball, soccer, doesn't really matter. I actually had to watch Kokomo Bobcats at the IU Sports and Activity Center. They went there for a few games this past summer. And so my wife and I went over there, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that it was a venue, because I still thought the basketball, the volleyball is still being played downtown at Memorial Gym, but it's not anymore. And that's a beautiful venue as well.
We're lucky to have that. It opened in the fall of 21 fully, I believe, but it was used a lot as a COVID classroom because you could spread some folks out in there. So really, or fall of 20, I'm sorry, that's when it was used. And fall of 21 is really our first full-time, hey, it's ours, we get a full home slate of games and matches in that place. So really intimate environment that can get pretty loud and pretty rowdy from time to time, especially, the volleyballs and the basketballs. And, just really fortunate to have a facility on campus. And we've seen an increase in faculty and staff and students at our games and matches. And, it's no secret that it's a little bit easier to get to on campus. And, on the backside of that, we put out a really good product on the court, both volleyball and basketball, who play there. So fun place to watch a game. And, if you don't like loud noise, bring some headphones.
No, he's right. I'm laughing because I think with the second Kokomo Bobcats game that I watched there, the crowd, it wasn't a sold out game. But man, let me tell you, when those fans, Kokomo fans are amazing as well. I'm new to the area. I've mentioned that a few times. And so I've gotten to learn about the sports scene in Kokomo and got to learn about the people of Kokomo. Sports fans here are wild, man. And so the Kokomo Bobcats, I don't believe it was a playoff game this time. I do believe it was just a regular season. They got loud. I got off my seat. I got a little animated. You may have seen me there and be like, who is this guy? Well, he's here at the Kokomo Post Sports now. And I do enjoy the loud venues. And you're right. If maybe the loud venue is not the best for you, still go there at 10, but act like it's the Indy 500, put some headphones on and go about it, man. Because the volume level going up definitely adds to the intensity of the players and the coaches during that particular game.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a fun place to watch a game. And again, I encourage anybody that's out there watching and listening, if you haven't been to one, come out and check it out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, about the venue for one, but again, the product that we're putting out on the floor. So looking forward to it. A couple other updates. Tennis is playing their only home match of the fall here tonight as well. 5 o'clock they play out at Taylor High School. So, your only chance to see the Cougars in action here this fall. We'll obviously have more come this spring. But cross country competed at the River States Conference Preview this past weekend. Was a really good outing. Extremely tough course, as you can imagine, down in kind of eastern Kentucky there in the rolling hills. But Hannah Wells, is a transfer for us from University of Indianapolis. She's been phenomenal. She finished second individually while the team finished second, and then the men competed and ran and finished in third. So again, the preview, the actual conference championship is on that same course on November 4th. So it gave our student athletes the opportunity to see that course, and now they know what to expect come November 4th, and I completely anticipate them to compete for the conference championship on that day.
So many conference championships. Yep. Didn't touch soccer. Didn't touch the other things going on. Got a little basketball. Good things coming in the wintertime. So much good stuff. Tom, did we miss anything or anything else you want to touch on?
I don't think so. I mean, like you said, basketball first day of official practice was yesterday. Okay. So that will be firing up here before we know it. Women's golf was in action. Sarah Williams had a top 10 finish. At their last competition. So again, just a lot of really good stuff coming from our student athletes and a lot of competitive stuff. And, again, encourage anybody out, listening and watching to come see our student athletes compete at a really high level, regardless of the sport, regardless of the competition.
Guys, I love having Tom back on the show. Got to get a great rundown of what's going on at IUK, the athletic department there. Coming up next, we'll get to hear from the men's golf coach, Mr. Brent Martin at IUK. Get to learn about that program and some things that he does to help his players on the golf course. We are back here at the Cougar Cast, and joining us now on the show is the men's golf coach at IUK and the assistant athletic director for communications, Mr. Brent Martin. Brent, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you. Great to be here.
It is, and I say this all the time, I've enjoyed the times where we have to spend talking to coaches of tennis or soccer or volleyball, whatever the sport may be, esports. I love hearing the different things going on from them, their sports that they coach, things like that. What is going on currently this week or maybe beyond with the golf program at IUK?
Yeah, good weather's going on, so we're outside practicing, competing. So we either run practices every day or we will do a qualifying round. Today the kids are out there. They're at Wildcat Creek, so shout out to Wildcat Creek. They're a great host for our team. They're out there playing and practicing, and we will do a qualifying round today. So typically we'll do anywhere from 1 to 2 practices or 1 to 2 qualifying rounds to set the lineup for the upcoming tournament, which we have a tournament on Friday.
So practice, I said it before we started. I don't play golf. In my mind of playing golf is playing nine holes or 18 and just playing a round of golf. Is that a typical practice? Are there different details that you guys work on? I'm sure there are, but what's a typical practice from start to finish like?
Yeah, golf is a pretty technical sport. Yes. So a lot of the athletes are super technical about their swing, and so at a practice. We'll all be there. We'll be either on the driving range or we'll be on the putting green or in the sand trap, the practice area, working on a lot of different things. And because golf is an individual sport, they all swing the club, 10 different ways. And I swing it an 11th different way. So they all have their own thoughts on that. But I'm there to kind of set drills and give them stats and feedback on what I think they should work on. And then it's up to them to kind of implement that plan. And we can work together. If some kid's really struggling with his putting or something, I can help them through that. I can also give drills for that. But they do a really good job of knowing exactly what they want to work on. It's typically, the longer, the fun shots. They want to be out there hitting drivers and crushing their irons and stuff like that. But we do spend a good amount of time on the putting green. Just yesterday, we played a really fun team game where, everybody had to do something before we could move on to the next one. And they were really having a good time with that. Getting it so that everybody didn't fail and everybody had to complete it. And, so we'll do team stuff and we'll do a lot of individual work kind of on their own as well.
Is it difficult at times for you being the golf coach of numerous people? You talk about the different swings and yours is different than everybody else's. Is it ever difficult for you to try to formulate a plan for an individual that might be a little bit different of a swing than the other people that may have a swing that's closer together?
Yeah, I wouldn't say difficult because, I'm pretty advanced in my golf knowledge, but it can be a little difficult getting the student to buy into kind of what I think they should do, or what I think their needs improvement in their swing or something like that. But a lot of them have their own private coaches that they've seen since they were in youth, and that's what's got them into college. And so I typically do a more collaborative approach. So I want to know what they're working on with their private coach, and then I will build a plan off of that. But one thing I do is during our tournament play, they have to keep stats. And so they have to keep their fairways and their greens and their up and down percentage and, their strokes gained and lost. And so I compile that and then give that back to them. So I kind of give them the data, and then they, in turn, can see, here's what I did well when I played well, and here's what I did poor when I played poor, and vice versa. And that's really gone a long way the last couple of years, helping the kids kind of identify what they need. And then I'm always there to kind of help instigate that change and instigate that improvement.
That seems like a really good plan to have the individual, which I do know, I believe in golf. I don't play golf. I believe in tournaments, the student athletes keep their own score. Is that correct in college?
Yep.
So you're keeping your own score. You're also keeping scores and stats and numbers for yourself for being able to be coached after the match is over. That's really interesting, and I like hearing those type of things about how coaches use things that happen in a game or in a meet or in a match to help the athletes are coaching along the way. Was that something that you thought of yourself? Where did that thought process come from?
Well, golf is unfortunately one of the few collegiate sports where they do police themselves out there. And so they do have to keep their score. They have to keep somebody else's score. So that can get a little cumbersome for the kids when you're just trying to play well and focus, whereas you got to keep, a live score, and you got to keep a player's card, and you got to keep stats. And so that does get a little bit frustrating for them. But I came up with that just being a numbers guy and being someone who, has followed the trend of analytics in sports in the last several years of all the data that's going into it. And I just kind of started, there's this statistic on the PGA Tour called strokes gained. Yeah. And so that's kind of the basis, the foundation of it. And we've adapted it to kind of fit a college golfer, because it can be strokes gained or lost, typically. And so they kind of seek inward and look inward. It's not just like, okay, I shot, X score. Yeah. It's how did I shoot that score? And I feel that's helped a lot of improvement.
Let's go back. Maybe when you were a kid, 5, 6, 7 years old, maybe in high school. When did you start playing golf?
As early as I can remember. Yeah. I played with my dad and my grandfather all the time in the summer. They were both in education, so summers were off, and so we played a lot of golf in the summers as early as 5 and 6 years old. But I have experience in several sports, and so I didn't really focus on golf even until college and beyond, until I started working in that profession. I always just enjoyed a lot of different sports, but I enjoyed playing all of them. And so I began to focus on it kind of as a career, and that was when it first started.
Golf is, I always go back to this, it's one of those sports that when you get into it, you maybe either try for a little bit, don't really play, or you get into it, kind of like it a little bit, get a little coaching, get a private coach, get some lessons. Don't really fall into it like you do maybe football or basketball or baseball or other sports. But then when you love golf, it comes through in conversations like this. Yeah. When you're playing it on the golf course, you find somebody, you talk to somebody, and you just end up in a 20-minute conversation you didn't expect because of a love you have for a sport. I learned that about golf. Yeah. Golfers love golf, and Brent, they love talking about it too.
Yeah, I call it the golf itch. It's like an itch or a scratch that can't ever go away. Once you hit that first par, or that first birdie, or that really perfect, drive, it usually keeps you coming back for more. Yeah. And a lot of my student athletes and their friends and family, they think like all we do is golf, and and that's true. It's because we've been, we've gotten that golf itch, and that golf, we call ourselves golf geeks, because it's just what we like to do.
It is. I talked to a Western teacher, football coach, basketball coach, actually golf coach as well, over the summer, and he was talking about how he has 3 sports. I believe it's golf, basketball and football. And he said there's like a week off in between summer school, which he teaches, and then also the start of football in his football schedule of coaching full time. And he said that week off, he goes, I believe it was to South Carolina, and he plays golf. Him and his buddy go, they play golf for a week. And I'm like, I love basketball. I like football. I have never thought it in my mind to go and play basketball on vacation 1 week out of the summer for 3, 4, 5 days, or football 3, 4, 5 days. Never thought it. Golf, you could do that.
Right.
Golf's one of those sports where you can do that. Have you ever, golfing with some friends, met up with people that have become friends afterwards because of your love for golf? I don't know what goes on a golf course. I can know what basketball court, football, but I'm sure it's the same thing. Like, meet people you don't know, but eventually you guys could become longtime friends.
Right. Golf is the language of business.
Yeah.
A lot of people know that. Golf is becoming super popular among other athletes nowadays. We've seen Steph Curry get super into golf. We've seen, Tony Romo try and qualify for the U.S. Open, and I think that's because golf is such a lifelong game that a lot of people just enjoy that. And when you're a kid, other sports kind of take precedence, but we always joke with all of us on the golf team that our friends eventually make their way back to golf. Like, once all the sports and the competition is over, it's like, okay, I guess I better go buy some golf clubs because it's time to play golf and learn golf. And we just were fortunate to all figure that out, as kids.
Last thing here for you. I told you my dad will probably watch this video. My wife's best friend's husband, actually my friend, I don't know why. Adam, I'm sorry. Y'all know we're friends as well. Adam is going to watch this as well. And there may be some other golfers that may be not a golf coach, but play casually, but are curious if they could get to learn something from you, maybe that could help their golf swing, maybe generic, because you don't know someone's specific swing. But what kind of advice would you give someone to help them the next time they're playing around a golf?
The first thing I always ask people when they find out I'm a golf coach, they're always pretty intrigued. And they're always like, oh, no, I play golf, or I want to play golf, or I want to learn and get better. And the first thing I always ask them is, do you practice ever? And most people, that answer is no. Yeah. But they still tend to get frustrated, or they still want to get better. And you wouldn't treat that with any other sport. You wouldn't just go jump in a 3-on-3 basketball game, never playing basketball. You typically go shoot around, and you shoot in the driveway. And so my first advice is, don't go play golf as much, go practice a few times, or buy yourself some lessons. If you're going to do something like that, get some actual knowledge of the swing and a foundation that you can build off of.
Brent, it's been fun having you on the show, getting to learn a little bit about you, the golf program at IUK, the things that make you the golf coach that you are, and getting a little golf advice for the golfers out there. Guys, this has been the Cougar Cast. We'll see you next week.